rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Good news out of Washington, D.C. The other West Virginia National Guardsman who was shot last month is making extraordinary progress, according to his neurosurgeon, which is good news indeed. So, thankfully that he looks like he is going to at least make somewhat of a recovery after being shot in the head. So prayers work, baby. Prayers work. Make sure you set in a prayer for some of those folks, and let's make sure that we get these people back to their proper places. Let's see. Oh yes. Tonight, up on deck for the Pledge of Allegiance is the wonderful 3 Chevy. 3 Chevy, who was a longtime Whiskey Warrior P1, is up. So, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, place your hand over your heart, and follow along with 3 Chevy as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank 3 Chevy for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. Also, too, if you decide to do it on your phone, reportedly you use the share option to send it to me and share it to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. I am looking for number 21. I have 20. I need 21 now. So I've been out calling for 21 for quite some time. So somebody I'm hoping will eventually, do it. Anyway. All right, folks. Let's get to tonight's headline sponsor, which is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's IOTC.AmericanPerspective.online, or you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show. Go to Constitution.AmericanPerspective.online. Let's take a look at this wonderful book. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. It's got sexy rounded corners, according to my Whiskey Warrior P1s over on Rumble. Got stitching instead of glue all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year manufacturing warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem with this item within that time frame, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It gives liberals gastrointestinal issues. I wouldn't be around them when they hold this thing because, yeah, they might blast you out of, well, I don't know. Anyway, it is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to study and achieve your civics badge in Scouts. Will also help you pass that civics test and maybe even that naturalization test if you're looking for it. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Get yours today. I don't know if you'll get it for Christmas, but man, they make great stocking stuffers. You might be able to get it in just under the wire. Christmas is not that far away, folks. Yeah, put it in the stocking of that conservative that you love or that liberal that you love to hate. Anyway, go to constitution.americanperspective.online and also go and check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings. And I thank them for allowing me to be an affiliate. All right. So as I said in my opening, the National Guardsman, Andrew Wolf, is making incredible progress. His neurosurgeon, Jeffrey Mai, said in a statement on Friday that Wolf received a critical gunshot wound to his head and was airlifted to MedStar Washington Hospital Center, according to the Washington Post. Mai also said that the quick-acting first responders and the actions of trauma and neurosurgery teams saved Wolf's life by controlling the bleeding and pressure on his brain. He said that Wolf's recent recovery developments are important milestones that reflect his strength and determination. Staff Sergeant Wolf has made extraordinary progress. Based on these improvements, he is now ready to transition from acute care to inpatient rehabilitation as the next step in his recovery journey. And by the way, his family apparently has chosen not to disclose the location of where he will be doing this rehab. So, Wolf's parents said in a statement released by MedStar on Friday that they hope their son will be able to return to work in the West Virginia National Guard and his new mission of being a light into this world. They said, please continue to lift Andy up in prayer as he begins a long and tough rehabilitation. We know he will continue to improve at a rapid pace. So, there you go. Apparently, according to the West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey, he said that Wolf's parents reported that his head wound is slowly healing and that he is beginning to look more like himself. Prayers do work, folks. Thankfully, this young man, 24 years old, young man, is appearing to make a miraculous recovery. Now, how far that actually is, I don't know. But at least one other person has not been taken by the terrorist. And I mean terrorists across the globe. All right. So, our friend, that member of the Seditious Six, Captain Mark Kelly, which honestly he I hope they strip him of his rank too. That would be awesome. Anyway, his Pentagon review is being escalated, and a Pentagon spokesman announced yesterday that the department is escalating a preliminary review into serious allegations of misconduct against the guy. He needs to go to jail, actually, but that's okay. Anyway, the review, which was reported on by Red State's Becca Lower this late last week, had been initiated by the Pentagon's Office of General Counsel to determine possible punishments for the retired Navy captain. Now, Captain Kelly is facing an official command investigation at this point and juncture in time. So the Department of War said in a statement to Breitbart News, the Office of the Secretary of War, in conjunction with the Department of War's Office of the General Counsel, is escalating the preliminary review to an official command investigation. A retired Captain Kelly is currently under investigation for serious allegations of misconduct. Further official comments will be limited to preserve the integrity of the proceedings. Yep. Well, if he's the only one that goes down for this, I mean, that's pretty sad, to be honest. But at least it's somewhat of a shot across the bow for these idiots. So, anyway. Yeah. And the biggest problem that they have, which this, I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is why he's being brought up on potential charges here, is because there's a vast difference between manifestly illegal orders and those who legality or illegality is debatable. The latter, of course, refusing to obey an order that one feels personally questionable, is in itself illegal under the UCMJ. See, and this is part of the problem. That freaking video, it made allegations, incorrect allegations. And because of the fact that these guys, these people, these seditious six, didn't say, hey, you know, just remember, there's illegal orders, you shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. No, they clearly stated, our Constitution is being attacked both abroad and at home, and that this administration is pitting the military against American citizens, both of which are literally not true. But the reason why they said it and the way that they said it is because of the fact that they were looking to foment disloyalty and insubordination within the ranks. That's what they were looking for, which is a direct violation of 18 United States Code Section 2387, which I've been putting out for this. So there you go. Anyway, this is a serious breach of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and this is why he is being looked at it. And of course, Kelly, being the dumbass that he is, rather than just saying, hey, look, that probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world for me to do. You know, I agree, it wasn't, and I apologize. And basically fall on the sword for him. No, he's like doubling and tripling and quadrupling down. He's sitting there saying things like, and posting on X things like, if Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth think they can stop me from doing my job, they've got the wrong guy. All right, whatever. Yeah, you're going to ride that horse all the way to the finish line, which, in my opinion, shouldn't finish very well for you. It really shouldn't. Because, again, if they were doing some sort of a class or some sort of a public service announcement, I could, and didn't say what they said, I could kind of... Some idiot on Facebook kept coming back to me and was like, hey, they didn't say what you said they said. And I took pictures, thankfully, of the video where the subtitles of the video were actually right there. And it's like, yeah, they actually said that. They said that the Constitution is under attack, even here at home, that military service members are being pitted against American people, American citizens, which is not true in either case. And it's like, come on. That obviously was a push. They're trying to get the military to do things that they shouldn't be doing. So, anyway. So, I hope this comes out the way that I hope it does, which is that this guy gets stripped of his rank and anything else and possibly even goes to jail. There you go. That's what I hope. All right. Well, let's talk about some lies and some conspiracy theories and some corruption that the Democrats have been spreading for years, or trying to cover up for years, and are now being called out about it. Even so much as to be called out about it. Sorry, I'm turning on a fan here on my computer to try and cool it off. I noticed I didn't have it running when I first started. And this streaming stuff takes a lot of power and takes a lot of heat. Anyway, the thing about it is that now the New York Times is basically admitting that, oh yeah, all those conspiracy theories and stuff that you, and I mean, yeah, they were true. Here's a video. This comes from, I'm not sure where this comes from, but this individual, I think it's a Newsmax article, or a Newsmax person. Of course I didn't do that. Anyway, this Newsmax person, and yeah, they're basically showing or going to tell us all about the things that the New York Times is now admitting. So, take a listen.
It can now be said, that was the theme of the week, things you have known for years but were called a Nazi or a Putin apologist for saying out loud are now being admitted in the pages of the New York Times, no less. The Times investigation this week found that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's government had embezzled hundreds of millions of dollars sent to Ukraine from the United States and Europe. The Times reported that the Zelensky government rewrote company charters to limit the government, keeping it in control and allowing hundreds of millions of dollars to be spent without outsiders poking around. Members of Zelensky's inner circle laundered $100 million from the state-owned nuclear power company Energoatom. I am old enough to remember when pointing out that Ukraine is a deeply corrupt country got you slammed as a Putin puppet. For 3 years, asking why the American people should be forking over billions of dollars with zero oversight to fund a war on another continent, when we have our own problems here at home and we could instead be pushing for a negotiated peace, was considered a Kremlin talking point. Even pointing out basic facts that would help end the war, like the fact that Crimea had already been annexed by Russia 8 years before the war began, got you labeled a propagandist for Putin. But now it can be said, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. It wasn't the only one of its kind this week. The Times had another piece entitled How Biden Ignored Warnings and Lost Americans' Faith on Immigration. The open border that the mainstream liberal media denied even existed for 5 years is now being written up in the New York Times, which found that Biden and his closest advisors repeatedly rebuffed recommendations to address the border crisis, resulting in millions and millions of illegals pouring across the border and turning every major American city into a border town. It can now be said, of course, we already knew that because we saw it with our own eyes, but that didn't stop elite progressive media and the Democratic Party from gaslighting about it, denying it was happening and smearing anyone who pointed it out as a white supremacist. So why the 180 now? Well, it's simple. Until the Democrats can prove, or at least pretend, that they've moved on from the Biden-era failures, they know they will lose national elections. Hence, the piece is blaming Biden. They're a good smokescreen for the fact that the Democrats don't actually have a compelling agenda on immigration, and that most Democrats truly believe that our economy, like the households of rich progressives, requires an indentured servant caste of illegal labor to keep prices down. Unfortunately for them, Americans want a closed border. They believe in hard work and good wages. They're sick of funding other people's fights that have nothing to do with our security and prosperity. They're sick of being fleeced. whether it's by Somalis in Minnesota or Ukrainians in the Zelensky government or millions and millions of illegal migrants who came here and sucked up billions of dollars in social services.
Okay, so that was Batya from News Nation, who basically, that was where that clip was from. And yes, it was longer than I normally like to run clips, but there were two things in there that needed to be covered quite well. So there you go. New York Times is starting to admit that, hey, all of you conspiracy theorists, yeah, you were right. Speaking of corruption, okay. Speaking of corruption and lies, well, there's a wonderful woman, and wonderful, I mean in like big ass quotes, named Pramila Jayapal. She unfortunately represents the state of Washington and is about as dumb as a box of rocks. I'd rank her up in the wells of Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and among a few others. Well, she decided that she was going to say that, hey, Somalians, because of all the Somali attacks, Somalians actually helped build, help build this country. Well, I don't know if any of you know Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, but Michael Knowles had a few fact checks for her. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Oh, boy.
Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal recently claimed that immigrants from Somalia built this country, the United States of America.
Immigrants have built this country from all over the world, Somalia, India, wherever they're from.
It's a strange claim, since the Americas were discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1492, settled by the Virginia Company at Jamestown in 1607, and settled in New England by the Pilgrims on the Mayflower in 1620, founded as a cohesive nation through the Revolutionary War between 1775 and 1783, and governed by the Constitution, which was ratified in 1788, all of which occurred between 132 and 428 years before the first documented Somali arrived in the 1920s. When Somalis did finally make it over here in the 20s, it was not by the millions, or by the thousands, or even by the hundreds. It was by the dozens, handfuls of sailors so minuscule that they barely even appear in the historical record. In the 1950s, as Somali territories moved toward independence after decades of colonial government by the British, the French, and the Italians, some Somali students attended American universities. Again, we're talking about a vanishingly small number of Somalis visiting and studying in the United States. Even after the Hart-Celler Act of 1965 radically transformed America's immigration system, inaugurating the policy of mass migration that persists to this day, Somalis still barely came to the United States. In 1969, the Somali Republic collapsed after only 9 years of existence, giving way to the Marxist-Leninist Somali Democratic Republic. Even then, only a minuscule number of Somalis made it to America. By 1990, 1 year before the collapse of the Somali Democratic Republic, fewer than 2,100 Somali natives lived in the United States.
I'm not going to play the rest of this, but you get the point. Obviously, the Democrats are woefully inadequately educated, for as quote-unquote educated as they say that they are. They are woefully and inadequately educated in reality. So, yeah. The Somalis actually didn't, according to Michael Knowles. He points out toward the end of the video, he says much of the money that went straight back to Somalia, with at least some of it ending up in the hands of the Islamic terrorist group known as Al-Shabaab. He's talking, of course, about the recent fraud. And he continues and says, according to a 2024 report, remittances from abroad, and especially from the United States today, account to nearly between 30 and 50% of the Somalian economy. And then he adds, in other words, Somalis didn't build America. They never really contributed anything to America. but have managed to take, steal, and transfer enough wealth from America that inasmuch as Somalia exists today as a nation at all, America actually built Somalia. Anyway, again, these leftists are woefully and inaccurately educated. In fact, there's a idiot on Facebook who is trying to tell me that the Civil Rights Act of 1965, 1965, I believe, or 1966, whichever one it was, that was not. It was passed by partisanship. It was passed with the Democrats' support, and the Democrats were supporting it, and it was awesome, and the Republicans are the ones that made the problem. No. You go back and look, that was the longest filibuster in history put on by the Democrats. Now, granted, there were, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, there were some Democrats that sided with the Republicans. But if it wasn't for the Republican support, the unanimous Republican support of that, the unanimous Republican support of women voting across the entire nation, the unanimous Republican support of just about every quote-unquote progressive movement forward. I'm being corrected. It's 1964. Well, there was actually a couple of them. There was the 64, 66, and then the 1966 one turned into the 14th Amendment. But anyway, yeah, so they are just like, they are all, I mean, they are all woefully, it's, as Ronald Reagan says, that it's not so much that the Democrats are ignorant, our liberal friends are ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. That's the thing. All right. Let's take a bit of a let's take a bit of a quick break before I jump into the next story, and let me talk about this wonderful thing that you can get in order to avoid the ads and everything on Rumble. So as you've probably noticed, Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience with Rumble or with Premium. You get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, and just the content that you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators, like me. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. All you have to do is go to rumble.com/premium. That's rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO at checkout to get $10 off the annual subscription of a Rumble Premium account. No ads, more freedom, and the content that you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium, use promo code STUDIO at checkout to get $10 off your annual subscription to Rumble Premium. All right. Okay. Well, there's now, I mean, obviously, there's been a bunch of comments, and as Michael Knowles was talking about, or actually even before that, where where Batya was talking about how the Afghanis and everything else were being admitted. Yeah, well, apparently a senior intelligence official, this according to PJ Media, A senior intelligence official told the Telegraph that over 1,000 Afghans with ties to the Islamic State and other terror groups were actually flagged during the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome. Now, that number, by the way, according to the National Counterterrorism Center, has been bumped up, revised upward to 2,000, representing roughly 2/3 of the 3,000 known jihadists who are reportedly in the United States. So, so there you go. And standard background checks were also suspended due to the immediate need to evacuate the Afghan allies following the fall of Afghanistan. According to officials from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the NCTC, which again is the National Counterterrorism Center. Again, I mean, the problem isn't so much that these people came here. The problem is that none of them were vetted. The problem is that none of them were verified, checked out, or anything else. And, of course, when you have something that is as horrific as Bondi Beach's massacre this past Sunday, or any other terrorism scenario, okay, you honestly, you have to wonder and question, well, when is the next one going to come? When is the next one? And the next one? And the next one? And when you have these idiots like the guys from Hamas, a Hamas official, this is also in PJ Media, Hamas official predicts more massacres like Bondi Beach and brags of this global jihad. And Hamas, of course, is proud to claim responsibility for inspiring the killing of the Jews outside Israel since October 7th. They're sitting there talking about all of this. And Hamas's political bureau member, Mohammed Nazal, Nazzal, I think, is apparently claimed that the massacre of innocent Jewish families in Australia was justified because of the fake, quote-unquote, genocide happening in Gaza, which is a bunch of shit, which is how he described Israel striking terrorist targets in an attempt to defend itself from repeated terrorist assaults that it's been going through for, all of the for generations. Anyway. Yeah, this guy is claiming that there's going to be more. And, of course, we've welcomed in all kinds of illegal aliens from Muslim countries for decades. We've got them all over the place. And you've got people in America who are sitting there who are talking about, oh, yeah, we're not assimilating. We're going to take your country over. This is why I was saying we have to understand multiculturalism doesn't work. It fails. It's failed. It's done. We need to wake up to the fact that there are people out there who do not want what we want, who do not want freedom, who do not want to live in harmony with others, who do not want to just do what they need to do or do what they want to do in their lives without interference from either government or other people. Yeah. So this Hamas official bloated, quote, in the West and in the East, there are very violent reactions to the genocide in the Gaza Strip. That's not genocide. It's just, they're trying to get rid of Hamas. That's what it is. So, and of course, he calls Okay. Okay. Are we back? Oh, we're back there. Let's see if we're back. Yeah, looks like we're back there. Now, I don't really care if I'm back on any of the others, but we'll see. The only one I really care about. Yeah, so that one, the live video ended. Well, folks, let me just point this out. We're under a high wind warning. And it started at about, well, now. And so, yeah, I got hit. Power, internet, all of it went dropped for a second and came back, and here we go. Yeah, so there we are. I'm surprised actually that everything is still functional, to be honest with you, because that power hit should have knocked me completely out, but it didn't. So yeah. Anyway. So there we go. We're back. All right, let's move on from Hamas and all this. I want to get back. Oh, all right. Well, there's some new memos that are out, and I apologize for all of this. This is live streaming and with a limited amount of funds and so on and so forth. Anyway, so there are some new memos that are out that show and demonstrate how the corruption in the Clinton probe of the Clinton Foundation, how the corruption probe into the Clinton Foundation actually occurred. And, well, I don't know what the heck's going on there. So anyway, let's see if did this kick off? Am I back? Yeah, there we go. Anyway, the new memos show, and a top Republican senator provided Just the News a timeline written by FBI investigators that were laying out the requested political obstruction that those agents faced from their own bosses in the DOJ during the 2016 election. That would have been under the Obama administration. Okay. And, yeah, so there you go. And, field agents were frustrated. Headquarters wasn't going to let it go forward, meaning the corruption probe. All kinds of stuff were going on. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley made the records produced to him by Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi available to Just the News this past weekend. Again, Democrats, seriously. I mean, they're all corrupt. Every single one of them is corrupt. And this is just ridiculous that, yeah. So anyway, I don't know what to tell you realistically and all of that, but there you go. What a mess. What a complete and utter mess. All right. They continue with everything that's going on. I don't get it. I just don't understand why people don't understand that these people are literally corrupt. They're morons. They're corrupt. And all of this. Speaking of corruption in the Clintons are now rejecting the subpoenas, the calls to testify live in the Epstein hearings. The legal counsel for President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, they're pushing back hard against the demands from the House Oversight Committee chairperson, James Comer, that they testify before his panel in their connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Comer has threatened to begin contempt of Congress proceedings against them if they do not appear in person for depositions. He's refusing to excuse them from giving live depositions. This is according to reports in the New York Times. So, now he has withdrawn, Comer has withdrawn subpoenas from five former attorneys general who have all said they had no knowledge that would be relevant to the probe. He's excused former directors James Comey and Robert Mueller from being required to appear for live depositions. Former Attorney General William Barr is the only person from the list who has actually appeared to testify. And the Clintons have offered to provide sworn statements to the committee, but Comer has accused them of ignoring his subpoenas and has threatened to hold them in contempt. Now, if he holds them in contempt, those charges could carry up to 1 year in prison along with a fine of up to $100,000. So their longtime attorney sent 3 letters to the committee detailing arguments that the couple should be required only to provide sworn statements. Former President and former Secretary of State have delayed, obstructed, and largely ignored the committee staff's efforts to schedule their testimony, Comer said last Friday. So, yeah. Anyway, and by the way, he said he would start contempt proceedings if the couple doesn't appear before his committee on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So that's tomorrow and the day after. Or potentially schedule hearings for early January, one or the other. So there you go. And of course, they, the lawyers continue to say that they are saying that this is all a distraction from Trump's own relationship to Epstein, which, of course, there is no relationship with Epstein, at least not in the present sense of the word. Bonnie, I think, are you saying Comer or Comey? Because James Comer, is the representative who's in charge of the House Oversight Committee, where Comey is the FBI agent or the FBI guy. The former FBI director. So anyway. All right. Well, another revelation. No surprise. Remember how Trump's Mar-a-Lago raid happened? Okay. You remember there's this thing called the Fourth Amendment? Yeah, the Fourth Amendment. Wonderful thing. I got to break out my trusty, handy, leather-bound U.S. Constitution so I can read this to you. Yeah. Let's see. Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. You remember that? I mean, that's just the Fourth Amendment. I mean, who the hell cares about the Fourth Amendment, right? Really? Who cares? Well, remember that general warrant that they issued and served on Mar-a-Lago? You remember that? Yeah. That general warrant that they issued, well, FBI let's just say that the FBI are finding out Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel are finding out and preparing to turn over to Congress some bombshell emails showing that the FBI warned the Biden Justice Department did not have probable cause. Did not have probable cause to raid the Mar-a-Lago, but prosecutors proceeded anyway. This is in Just the News. The emails are to be turned over as early as today to the Senate and the House Judiciary Committees ahead of the planned deposition Wednesday from ex-Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, who inherited the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case just months after the August 2022 raid of Trump's home that rocked the political world ahead of the 2024 election. The memos show that the FBI's Washington field office does not believe they established probable cause. So basically what this is saying, folks, is that Trump's, Melania's, and anybody else who lived in that house, the Biden DOJ violated their Fourth Amendment rights. If they didn't have probable cause to raid Trump's Florida home, wow. Just think about that. The Biden DOJ went ahead with the warrant, even though they did not have probable cause. And the FBI basically was saying, hey, you guys don't have it. Now, these soon-to-be-released emails are supposedly going to chronicle specific concerns that the DOJ under President Biden had not met the standard for a search warrant. Now, here's the thing, folks. I mean, even though the case has already been dismissed, that by itself would have been enough to dismiss the case, because that would have been called fruit of the poisoned tree. So basically what this means is that anything that was found during that search, if they did not have probable cause, if they did not have a warrant properly issued, that is all inadmissible evidence in a court of law. So, yeah. Now, the House Judiciary Committee issued a subpoena recently compelling Smith to give a closed-door deposition tomorrow as part of the committee's probe into the federal prosecutions of Trump. How many more things do we have to start demonstrating to people, provided that all of this is absolutely true? And right now, there's no real reason to believe that it isn't. But how many more things are we going to have to show that the Democrats, the Biden DOJ, the Biden administration, the Obama administration, the Clintons, any of these other folks that are out there that are all Democrats, how are we, when are we going to start seeing heads roll? When are we going to start seeing people thrown in jail, up on trial for all of this? I mean, yeah. So, right. And we're going to have to see. But, yeah. Yep. And by the way, ahead of Smith's appearance, which is supposed to be tomorrow, and his lawyer has indicated the former special counsel will comply with the subpoena, House Democrats have been trying to force the release of a classified version of Smith's final report on his investigation, and the Trump legal team has gone to court to try to block the release. These letters and everything else stating that they may not have had probable cause to go and do this, that could support the fact that what Trump's legal team is asking for, that report is now fruit of the poison tree and needs to be gotten rid of or inadmissible in any way, sense, shape, or form of this entire thing. See, folks, this is why you never, ever trust Democrats, especially Democrats in power. This is why they do not need to be in power. We need to make sure that they never get into power ever again. Even though I know there's enough idiots out there, leftist idiots, that they will likely gain power again. But these people are corrupt. You can't trust a word that they say. You can't trust that they are going to do what is good for America. So, yeah. This is the emails. Wow. Now, you'll recall that when Mar-a-Lago was raided and we found out about the general search warrant, I called that out, by the way. Not that I'm patting myself on the back, but I did call that out. And I did say, hey, yeah, you guys need to understand that this is not right. This is not right. So, anyway. This is just a complete and utter mess. Mess. Given to you, or done to you, or done for you by the Democrats. Well, speaking of hypocrisy, this is more or less than corruption. But speaking of hypocrisy, AOC was caught in a luxury spending binge in Puerto Rico. Now remember, she's a socialist or a self-proclaimed socialist. So why is she going and doing this? Well, that's what socialists do. They irresponsibly spend other people's money. That's what they do. So apparently she dropped nearly $50,000 in Puerto Rico on luxury hotels, upscale dining, and a venue rental where the musical artist Bad Bunny was performing. Yeah, that's good. I love the fact that's what she's doing with our money. Anyway, former White House press secretary Sean Spicer said of the revelations about it, this is not new for her. She's a hypocrite. Well, all Democrats are hypocrites. That's literally what they are. They're all Democrats. They're all hypocrites. And it looks like most, if not all, are corrupt. So keep in mind, of course, that they want to tax the rich to get more money. Yeah. Anyway, I'm tired of these people. I really, really am. I'm tired of these people. And one last thing before I go. Trump has now officially launched a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the BBC over his speech edits, over the edits of his speech. For those that don't remember, they edited out where he said peacefully and patriotically protest in order to make it look like he was saying that they need to go to the Capitol and fight, which is what caused, or what the Democrats say caused January 6th. Democrats don't say that what caused January 6th is the fact that the Capitol Police fired rubber bullets and tear gas into a protesting crowd, and that there were people inside the crowd, meaning plants inside the crowd, that were egging everybody on and stuff. So anyway, so he has now launched that. He filed the lawsuit on Monday, seeking at least $10 billion that edited his speech. So, and by the way, the speech and the doctored edits in question aired in what's known as a panorama documentary, which was wrong, a documentary. It should be a crock-umentary, because it's a crock of crap. But anyway, the BBC apologized over the bungled report, but has rejected Trump's demands for compensation. Personally, I hope he wins. And when he does win, I hope he closes them down, because all they've been doing is doing bullshit reports. Pardon me. So anyway, so yeah. And by the way, the lawsuit seeks damages in an amount not less than $5 billion for each of the two counts, which is the $10 billion. So they're going after two counts of this against the BBC for defamation and violation of the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. Yeah. So there you go. And I hope he wins. I hope he bankrupts these guys. I really hope so. Anyway, all right. Well, sorry about the the storm hit, but that is kind of what happens here in sometimes in the wintertime. But anyway, sorry, I got something in my throat. Hang on. All right. Well, that's it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective Channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or the thumb sideways if you're 3 Chevy. I know he's not here, but 3 Chevy. Across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday, and if you don't have a pet, I don't have a pet of the week, well, technically I do. I have the emergency pet of the week. But I don't want to use the emergency pet of the week, so if you have a pet of the week, send it in to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online so I can get it in the show for tomorrow. But anyway, we will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday. Have a great rest of your evening. And good night, everybody.